Out of all AI tools, ChatGPT gets a P for participation. I said what I said. Look, I'm not here to be reckless. ChatGPT genuinely changed my life when I first started using it. But here's the thing nobody in this space wants to admit. Most of us are using AI wrong. We think we're at the top of the game because we're using AI. And that right there, that's the trap. There's actually a phenomenon that explains exactly why this happens. And by the end of this video, you're going to see yourself in this. My name is Bree, and if you're new here, welcome. This channel is for people who take productivity seriously. Not just 10 tips to get organized productivity. I'm talking about using tech and AI to actually upgrade the way you operate. And today, we need to have an honest conversation about the most popular AI tool on the planet and why I stopped using it. So here's my story. I'm a consultant. My job is helping businesses onboard, manage, and actually use software to run better operations. Simple, right? Which means I live inside tools, workflows, and productivity systems all day, every day. So naturally, when ChatGPT blew up, I was one of the first people in my circle to jump on it. And at first, I felt unstoppable. I was drafting emails faster, I was building out SOPs quicker, and I was summarizing long documents in seconds. I really thought I had unlocked some kind of superpower. But here's the thing about the Dunning-Kruger effect. And if you haven't heard of this, pay close attention because it will change the way you see yourself.
It's the Dunning-Kruger effect.
The Dunning-Kruger effect.
Ever notice how the people that seem to be the worst at their jobs always think they're the best at them? That's the Dunning-Kruger effect. If you only know a little bit about a field, you actually lack the knowledge necessary to grasp the fact that you suck. In other words, you literally don't know what you don't know.
That was me with AI. I thought I was operating at a high level because I was using AI at all. But I was sitting right there at the peak of what they call Mount Stupid, feeling great, completely unaware of how shallow my usage was. The wake-up call came slowly at first. I'd paste a long client brief into ChatGPT and ask it to help me build a proposal, and it would give me something that looked professional on the surface, but when I actually read it back, it was hollow and generic. So surface level that it could have applied to any client in any industry, and I had to rewrite almost everything. Then, I'd ask it to help me organize my tasks for a complex project, and it would give me a flat list with zero logic behind the sequencing. No follow-up questions, no hey, what's your deadline for phase 2, nothing. And then the written content, don't even get me started. I got to a point where I had to copy everything out of ChatGPT, paste it into Grammarly, clean it up in Grammarly, and then bring it back into my workflow. We're in 2026. I should not need 3 tools to do what one tool should be doing. That's when I started asking the real question. Is this as good as AI gets? Or am I just using the wrong tool? Okay. Before I go any further, I want to be clear. I'm not dragging ChatGPT. It deserves a lot of credit. When ChatGPT launched in late 2022, it was revolutionary. It was the first AI tool that made regular people like me and you feel like we were talking to something powerful. It democratized AI. It made technology accessible for people who had never touched a line of code in their life. And for that, massive respect. If you're brand new to AI, ChatGPT is still a great starting point. The interface is clean, the onboarding is intuitive, and it's forgiving of bad prompts. You don't have to know what you're doing to get something useful out of it. You need a fast answer? Done. Want to brainstorm a list of ideas? Easy. Writing a short casual email? You got it. The limitation isn't that ChatGPT is bad, you know. The limitation is that it was built to be broadly accessible. And at a certain level of complexity, that design philosophy starts to work against you. Okay, let's get specific because this is where most YouTube videos get lazy and I refuse to do that to you. My first problem with ChatGPT is the context just doesn't hold. Here's a real scenario. Imagine you're managing a multi-phase consulting project. You have a 40-page strategy document, meeting notes from 6 different stakeholders, and a project timeline that's already shifted twice. You paste all of that into ChatGPT and ask it to help you identify bottlenecks and recommended next steps. What happens? It skims the surface. It summarizes what you gave it, but loses the thread between sections. Ask it for a follow-up 2 messages later, and it's already starting to drift from the original context. This isn't an observation. In a study written by researchers Nelson Liu and colleagues at Stanford and UC Berkeley in 2023, they found that when you give AI models long, complex documents, their ability to reason through the whole thing actually breaks down. Like the information in the middle of the document, the model basically starts ignoring it. They literally called the paper lost in the middle, because that's exactly what happens. The longer and messier the input, the more AI loses the thread. ChatGPT 4 handles it a little bit better than the older versions, but the problem just doesn't go away. My second problem with ChatGPT is it doesn't ask questions. This one drives me crazy. If you drop a messy brief into ChatGPT, it will just answer. It won't ask clarifying questions, it won't flag assumptions, it won't say, wait, you mentioned 2 deadlines. Which one is the priority? It just generates output and move on. For simpler tasks, that's fine because, I guess I'm looking for an answer. But for complex work, that's actually a liability. You get a confident sounding answer built on incomplete information. And if you're moving fast, you might not catch that. My final issue with ChatGPT is the writing just doesn't breathe. I touched on this earlier, but I really want to land on it. ChatGPT's writing is technically correct and structurally sound, but it has a voice problem. It writes like a very thorough intern who has never had a personality. And for professional deliverables, proposals, SOPs, executive summaries, that flatness will cost you your credibility. This is why I ended up with a Grammarly subscription just to fix ChatGPT output, which is wild when you think about it. I'm paying for AI to write for me, then paying again to make it sound like a human that wrote it. Okay, so this is the part where I climb out of the valley of despair, that is. After really sitting with my frustrations, I gave Claude, built by Anthropic, a serious shot. Not a quick test, actually put it through the same workflows I use every day. And I just want to say this one thing. I am not sponsored by Claude. This video is not sponsored by Claude. And this is simply just a video of me expressing my own opinions based on my own experiences. Okay, now that that's out of the way, here's what stood out immediately to me when I started using Claude. It asks questions. I gave Claude the same messy client brief I described earlier, but before it gave me a single recommendation, it came back with clarifying questions. It wanted to know the timeline, the primary stakeholder, the non-negotiables. That alone told me that this tool was built differently. It holds context like a professional. Claude's context window, which is basically how much information it can hold in its head at once, is significantly larger than ChatGPT's standard offering. But more importantly, it uses that context intelligently. It references earlier parts of a document, it maintains the logic thread across the conversation, and it just doesn't skim and summarize. It actually reasons through the material. For a consultant who's dealing with dense, layered client information every single day, this is not a small thing. This is literally my everything. With Claude, the writing sounds like a person. When I ask it to help me write a client proposal, it actually sounds like something a human being crafted with intention. The tone is professional without being robotic. It adapts to context. I'll be honest, I haven't needed Grammarly since I made the switch. That subscription has been canceled. Thank God, no more wasted coins on paying AI to fix AI. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough, and for me personally, this sealed the deal. When you're choosing a tool that you're going to use every single day to run your business, write your communication, and process sensitive information, you're not just choosing a product, you're choosing who you trust with your work. Anthropic, the company that built Claude, made a decision that I have a lot of respect for. In reporting by Wired and The Intercept in 2024, Anthropic allegedly was in discussions about a particular government contract, and they declined recently to allow the technology to be used for mass citizen surveillance. They walked away from a significant deal rather than compromise how Claude would be used. Now, I'm not here to make this political. What I am saying is this: a company that will turn down dollars, moolah, money, coins to protect its users' privacy, that tells you something about their real values. In an industry where a lot of AI companies will sell access to whoever writes the biggest check, stands out to me. Round of applause, Claude. So here's how we bring this all together, because this isn't actually a video about which AI is better. This is a video about a mindset shift. Remember that Dunning-Kruger curve that I told you about in the Dunning-Kruger effect? Most people that are using AI right now are sitting at the peak of Mount Stupid. They're using AI, they feel productive, and they have no idea how much they're leaving on the table because they haven't gone deep enough to know what deep enough even looks like. I was there, feeling slick because I was using ChatGPT, thinking I'm that girl, not realizing I was actually doing busy work, writing mediocre emails, generating hollow proposals, and copying and pasting between 3 different apps to get one output. Real expertise with AI means knowing which tool to use for what, and being honest when a tool is just not serving you. For simple everyday tasks and quick answers, ChatGPT is totally fine. I still use it sometimes for fast lookups, brainstorming, recipes, which flower is this, which rock is this, I can go on. I use ChatGPT still, but for simple tasks. But for the actual professional work, proposals, SOPs, complex analysis, writing that needs to sound like me, Claude is what I reach for now, every single time. And the result? Baby, I'm faster, my client deliverables are sharper, I cut a subscription I didn't need, meaning I saved money. And I'm here to help you save money. Generous, I know. It's the first time you're meeting me and I'm already saving you coins. I no longer feel like I'm fighting with my tools anymore. If anything I said today resonated with you, and if you recognize yourself in this Dunning-Kruger story, I want you to do just one thing today before closing out this video. Run, don't walk. Go and try Claude on something real. Not a test prompt, something you actually need to do this week. A real email, a real document, a real problem. And tell me in the comments, what happened? Because the goal here isn't just to use AI, the goal is to use AI well. And there's a massive difference between those two things. I'm Bree, and if you want more content like this, make sure you're subscribed because we go deep on this kind of stuff every single week. It was such a pleasure to have you. See you in the next video.